Righto, so we're going to replace the sill panels and the lower front section of quarter panels on this coupe. You can see here it's like a lead wipe joint. You can see how bad this rust is along here. It looks, I think because these have the stainless trim that runs along the side of them here, they store a lot of moisture behind them. You can see what's happened here. This is external rust. You can see how it's rusted here from the outside, not from the inside. So it's had shit build up out here. Someone's done some creative repairs here before. You can see this bottom of this quarter. It doesn't sound like it's full of dirt. It sounds solid here because of this bodgy weld that's in it. But you can look on the inside, you can see down in that lower dog leg down there. I don't know if you can actually see it. No, you can't. Ouch. But inside that lower, not the dog leg part, normally the dog leg comes down here from a, like the sedan has a dog leg around there. The inside of that's rusted through, so I'll have to make the bottom of that like I did on the other side. I'm filming this side because the other side of the car, I lost the footage of it, so I've already finished the other side, which I'll show you during this video. But what you'll see is cutting this outer bottom section off here, cutting off the sill. You can see this sill here, although it looks pretty good and pretty solid, actually this one's pretty good compared to the other one. The other one was totally destroyed. This one's got some rust up here and some rust along here. What I'll do is first I'll cut a couple of patches out around here and see how bad the rust is. If the rust isn't bad, because there's no lower rust penetrating down here, which is normally the case with them, just external rust, like someone's welded that up, but you can see external rust here where someone sort of knocked it in and welded stuff up. Once I take this off, you can see in the back down the front here there's some rust down here, so if I don't take off the whole sill, I'll have to just take off this lower section down here and rebuild this bottom section. Inside I can feel the inside of this one's in pretty good condition all the way along here, no rust. And I get to the bottom of the back here. Hopefully I can show you up in here. I don't know if you can see that in there, but right up in there, you can see where it's right there. See up in there, you can see the rust and corrosion through the back panel. That's really hard to fix from the back here. You have to do that from the front. You can see the back of that little bit of the dog leg in there where I said it was rusted before. Same happened on the other side. I'll do those repairs, show you how it's done. You see here the jacking point. It's rusted through. It's obviously, this one's full of dirt and crap. You can see it falling through. Let me just zoom out a bit here. Zoom out a bit here. Out. There we go. This is dirt that falls down. It falls down from the window channel in the top, and it falls down. And there's triple piece of steel here, right? There's this outer piece, there's this inner piece, and then there's the back section in there. You can see. So this one here is pretty good. The other one was rusted out, but I'll just replace that section through there once I get this bottom of the quarter off. So we have the lower panel made. It's got the right presses in it to be able to fit it up into the car, into this position here. It gets butt welded on right through the front here. I need to just get that tacked into position and work my way along. So I'll set up my clamps and we'll hold that in position there and we'll get it welded. Alright, so you can see here, I've clamped that piece on. It's a little bit high here, I have to chop it off. It's better it's too high than too low, but back here you can see it's perfect. So like a 1.5 mil gap there. I'll tack it in the corner there, I'll give it a bit of a knock in. This is the inner panel, so this is the inner panel, and it's pretty good right to about there somewhere. Then I'll just run the grinder through there push a bit in, run the grinder through there till I get it all the right shape that I need out here. And once I've done that, and that's all fully welded, I'll drill some spot weld holes in the bottom here, spot weld it on, take the clecos out, take the clamps off, and that panel will be ready to go. Then once that's on, I'll then be able to get this outer quarter or lower quarter panel on. This is normally where the door, where the door, the dog leg comes down here somewhere, sill comes across here on a sedan. So probably to about there somewhere, but with a longer coupe door. These are totally different, so we'll get that stage in a second. Right, I'll get prepped for welding and we'll get that one on. Alright, there you go, nice and smooth. You can see these first 4 here look pretty shit. I forgot to turn the gas on, you can see that spot welds get much better at the back here. I'm just going to grind the top off them now, re-weld them, there's little pit holes in them, and I'll fully weld that panel in, and then I'll drill these bottom spot welds and get that going. Then we'll trial fit the other panel over the top. It's not bad up to here, but it's got a bit of a ripple in this bottom section down here, so I'm thinking about cutting it off here and putting that whole piece on like that. Before I do anything else, I'll show you the difference in those spot welds there. Let's go 10 times zoom on this camera. Can you see that last weld? Right, where is it? Right there, and that next one along there. You can see the difference between having the gas turned on and having the gas off. So that's a real poor weld, and I had to remove it. I'm going to remove that last one right now. I've been grinding the other ones off, as you've seen, and I'll go back through tack weld on those other ones again. I'm on high amp, so I'll blow through the old shitty weld. There you can see some good spot weld on there now. What I'll do is I'll drill these spot weld holes in the bottom. I've already drilled some of the back there. Actually, I might drill them right now. I'll just clamp it. That's those welds done in there. So this is getting quite solid now. It's like 1.5 mil this plate compared to like 0.8 of a millimetre on the outside here. So I'll grab my spot weld drill and we'll punch some holes and get that welded in. We'll be able to take off some of these clamps and stuff now. Take the cleat out as well. Not sure if I showed you in one of the previous bits of the video, but there's a cliquet. These are the cliquet pliers. As you squeeze them, see the end of it there, how it comes out. It comes out and it goes skinnier. As it goes back in, it goes up a taper and it gets tight. Gets tight in the hole. So you have to drill a hole that suits the cliquet when it's extended. And then when it retracts itself, it's good to go. So let's get a clamp down here somewhere. Get that weld done in there. And you're probably wondering why I'm doing such large spot welds on here. Like I said, this piece is structural to your car. This is inner quarter. This whole section spot welded around the back. It's about as solid as it gets on your car other than the chassis. Alright, that's all welded in there now. Now I'm going to go through and stitch in all of this across the top. Oh. Here you can see the original welds that I did here. Like, it's a little bit high. It's probably wire feed is probably too high. Amps look good. The weld looks pretty good. And you can see here how I've knocked it down with a grinder, which is just with this little handheld pneumatic grinder. This is Black Ridge. It's just a Super Cheap Autos version. No Super Cheap Autos aren't sponsoring me. And you can see there I've knocked that down, just knocked the top of the weld off. That's all I did. Then this next section through here, I power filed it back with this power file. It's pneumatic. This one I Again, no one sponsors me. This is just some Temu version that I got. It's got like a 36 grit belt on it. So then I took the 36 grit belt, did that bit through there. I did it this way, I did it that way, just to smooth it off. Now that's flush. And you see back here where I put the 80 grit belt on and went through the weld again. And then I got these two things. There's either this type of Scotch-Brite type thing that goes on your drill, like that, or there's this type of Scotch-Brite that goes on your grinder, like this. So, the reason I'm knocking it all back is I gotta paint all this with a black enamel when I'm finished anyway, but I just wanted you to see what the weld looks like to the grinding, to the power file section, to the finished bit of panel. Like I said, once I cut this panel back up here to put that full side in, I will clean up and grind in behind this panel here, this internal part up there as well, and we'll get that installed. And I'll grind it back, and then I will paint it all with black enamel just to protect it. This will all be painted in black enamel. The only bit that will have this weld through primer will be this bottom section here, because this panel, you can see here, it has the cutout in it. That cutout will line up with that bit under there, and that kind of fits on pretty much like that. So hopefully we get to that stage today. I need to get that end bent in, so you can see how this end has that little bend down there. This is an Avesta product. This is the left hand side, but the right hand side didn't have that little fold, so I got to get that really tight little fold. You can see it there, that little tight fold into, because that's the bit that sort of fits into the panel right here, and then the sill fits up against it on top. The sill goes on top of that, so that'll be welded onto there, kind of thing, and the other sill will come along and sit right on top of it. So it's kind of 3 panels thick in that section there. All right, I will keep grinding. Right, so that's what it looks like. That's that inner panel welded in there now. Now you can see it from the bottom. These are the 2 drip holes that they have, which line up with these. They line up with these drip holes here, so when they sort of fit on, this is the opposite side, when they fit on, they line up with those drip holes, so water can actually drip out the bottom of the panel. But yeah, that's it. Welded in. Now I'm going to dummy fit that panel I just lifted up. Like I said, I'm probably going to cut it off around here somewhere. Because, like I said, it has a good buckle in this section here. Like, I had a fair bit of damage down the bottom here anyway, but so I'm not going to paint that up yet till I cut that next panel off, and I'll clean up that whole section. Once it's all cleaned up, I will then paint it all, and we will make a plan to test fit that panel. that piece I just cut off then wasn't actually that bad. Well, when I felt it from the inside, it felt like it was all corroded and rusted, but it's not. It's original sound deadener on the inside, but you can see I've definitely got all the rust out. There's none up here. I'll just buff all this area up now, clean it up, give it a coat of black lacquer. I've got this in a guard part off here. I've got to re-weld that in there where I cut the dog leg off. Fix up that little bit there where I nicked it with a grinder. Dress it up, but you can see the further down you go, the worse the rust gets. You go up here and it starts to get a little bit of surface rust. It also means there's a little bit of surface rust inside that panel up in there, but I'm not taking that whole thing off now just to get to that, but it's minimal the further up you go. You can see no rust inside the panel in here. Yeah, I'll just dress this up, get a coat of black on it, dress up all the bits I need to first, do some test fitting first, because of this panel you can see the new panel comes out to that edge there and straight down and joins that edge down in there. So I've got to trim it back. See this really faint line here? That's the faint line. Actually, the top one is the line. I don't know if you can see it. See the top one there? That's the line where my panel goes to. This bottom one is where I'll trim it off to next. I just try to keep it a bit away. Right, that's how it looks with the panel welded in there and all blacked out. So let that dry. I've test fitted the outer panel, and you can see where I've cut it back to size here. I've got to actually peel all this shit off because I've got to put all my weld through primer on. So I just kept all this area clear where the weld through primer is going to go, which is all these areas down here. So that's how it's looking. I'll get the weld through primer on there now. I'll let it dry. Once it's dry, I'll click out the other panel on there. Once it's dry, I'll get it all prepped, and I'll prep the inside of the new panel. As you can see, the new panel here is just that old black enamel shit they put on it just to protect it from rusting while you're when you buy it. But I'll get all the enamel shit off there. I'll weld through primer the top edge, this inside edge here, and along the back there. I won't do it across the top here because this is just going to get welded solid to the car, so that bit will get welded across here. So I won't show you me grinding all that shit off, but I'll get that done, get the weld through primer on, and we'll be ready for installation. Alright, so we have this all repaired and primed all the way along the sill panel. Like I mentioned before, this is that inner structure. This forms part of the chassis. It's quite tough. It's quite thick steel. Over here we have, I'm just baking this paint on here now. You see we have this this panel here. All the spot weld holes are drilled in the side here too. I'll clear coat this on now, and I'll show you how it looks with it mounted. Right, here's the outer panel. That's how it fits. I've got some clear coats over here. Better get this ready. I should have prepared this earlier, but I didn't. That one's in there. This one's underneath there. One in the wheel arch here. Alright, so there's how the panel fits, nice and snug. Once I push it in and get some tack welds on it, it'll be really good. I did drop this before. Need to get this panel alignment sorted out here. But yeah, that's how it fits on. I'm going to try and get one of these. Where are they? One of these panel clamps fitted. Not sure if you've seen them before, but where's the camera? There it is there. So if I unscrew this bottom, you can see the gap appears between the bit of square bar there and this actual box. So what that's designed to do is to leave this 1mm gap between the panel. So you slide this through like this. I can get through, there's a hole in the back over there, I can get through the back, and I can actually hold this panel in nice and flush. So I won't show you how I do it because my back will be to the camera, but I'll get a couple of those in and I'll show you how it looks. There you go, that's the panel clamps on there. You can see here what it does. It maintains that 1mm gap, levels up the panels nice and evenly. It'll allow me to get a tack weld here, one there, one there. You can see it's still pretty good down the back here. I can't get a panel clamp down here. I've got to actually push it in a bit tighter to get that one in there because it's still a bit of an edge, but if I push it in, it's smooth. Then I've got to bang that back edge in there. I've got to bang this top edge in over here, get it nice and flush. You can see how that panel fits in down there. A little bit of a gap I'll fill at the bottom here. That'll all work out right, and then I'll be able to put the sill in. The sill will come across right to this little edge Oops, sorry about the camera work, I'm not real good at the camera, but this little edge here where the Coleco's holding it, the sill panel will come up and it will butt up against that edge, then I'll be able to get a weld down there. From factory there, they got a lead joint down there on the coupe. There's a lead joint there on a sedan. You see when it's back at in front of the dog leg, you can see like a line down it. So it'll be right. I'll be able to get that welded and sorted, and it'll all work out really well. That's looking pretty schmick at the moment. I'll just get the camera up there and show you how it looks. Increase the zoom on it. Oops. There you go. You can see all these panel clamps in here. Got a Coleco here holding in position. That's pretty solid. This one's holding at the bottom. This one's holding at the front here. I've got to actually drill a couple of spot weld holes in here so I can get this in nice and snug. I'll drill a few there while I'm going. I've actually got to weld that and grind it back too, so the other panel fits in there. So once I've done that, I will then have to get this. You can't buy a HQ Coupe Sill, so I will be mounting this. Actually, where does it go to? It goes to there somewhere. I'll be mounting this. This has got to fit right in up against that edge there, and this lip here I'm going to put down here because there's a Coleco edge up here. I might actually just take that one out, see if I can move it around and show you. Let's put this in here. So what I'm going to do is when I get that on there, I've got to trim this down the front here. This fits the sedan part because the dog leg comes down here for the back door. I'm going to cut that down there. I'm going to weld that into that seam that's behind there, and it'll all work out really well, hopefully. But it's pretty late at night now, so just to keep my neighbours happy with me, I will end this bit of the video here, and I'll come back tomorrow and do some more. let's get that cleco out of there. Weld that one up too. There we go. That's a bit of shit. Right, we will. I'll center punch these holes here, and we will get some spot welds on this. As I can find the spot weld drill, which has to be down here on the floor because that's where I throw all my shit down here. Or not, maybe it's up here. Yeah, it's up here. Yeah. Pick them out of there. Let's raise this back up so you can see what I'm doing. Just getting my shitty camera work. Just trying to give you the best view I can. Alright, let's pick out these little pucks. Let's get some weld in there now. After we clamp it tight. The lights, freaking feel my head. Why is it freaking flicking on and off? I can't see shit. There's no light in here. It's light in here. I have to tell you, these speed glass things are good until they're not. Now that is some shit ass welding. Why is there so much light getting on me here and the freaking welding screen keeps flashing off and I can't see shit what I'm doing? Let's put that across over there. See if we can get some better angles at that. Piece of fucking shit. Gonna get one of my standard Welding screens that maybe I can change the sensitivity, maybe it's my fault. I don't care, I haven't got time to mess around with it. And delay, maximum shade. So here we go, this thing. Damn it now. I'm just fucking around with this fucking thing here, aren't I? Righto, that's bottom of that quarter panel installed there. I've got a couple of low spots here. It's a little bit high, like a bit of a ridge there. It's supposed to flow down nice and smooth, but it's a bit late tonight to get on the dolly, so it's 11 o'clock. I'll knock that down tomorrow, get that nice and smooth like the rest of it here, and then I will install this sill panel. Two steps forward, one step back. I'll just show you something here. A couple of bits of shrapnel down here. So there was a little pinhole in the front of the panel here. This is what was in here. This piece went like this. This is the piece in the bottom that had the little pinhole in it. I don't know if you can see it. You see through that little pinhole right there. On the back it looks really ugly, so I cut the whole section out. I can't remember how it went now. Something like that, I guess. And then there was another bit of the hole that come out there. When I started taking it off, it just started getting messier and messier. So I cut more and more out till I could find clean steel across the top and clean steel down the side there. So got that off now. Now I'm going to make a template for that piece there. Once I've done that, I'll weld that patch in. Then I'll get the sill welded on. Right, you can see I've got the patch made there, sitting there, nice even gap around it, a little bit big there, but that's on the other panel. I can weld that gap up there because it's double panel there. What I got to do is I got to get this, drill the spot weld holes through here, tack weld the bottom on. I tack this around the sides here, take the clamps off, weld it in. What I got to do is I have to make a little lump here. So I'm going to, once I spot weld either side, I'm going to heat this bit up. I'm going to try and drive my center punch up through there because there's got to be a bit of a drain groove here for the water to drain out. So I'm going to make that once I've got this all spot welded in. So for now, I'm just going to mark where my spot welds are going to go. I think I might try and get two here. One up there, one there. The other one will be underneath here. So I'll drill them out with the spot weld drill. And we'll clamp that back on. So you can see that fits in pretty neatly. In case you're wondering what I made it out of, if you remember rightly, the sill panel on the coupe is shorter because there's no back door here, so I just used that back section. I just cut out a long piece of it, made the bottom shape, clamped it on, bent the corners around where it had to be bent around, like you see up here. Bent the end here over here where it had to be bent a bit, and then just got the grinder. I just clamped it in there, got the grinder and cut around the edge of it, and it came out the exact shape of what that is. So I've just got to press a few bits of dags here and there, drill these spot welds, and we'll start welding that back in. Okay, there's the patch. Got black enamel on the back of it. It's got its weld through primer on the bottom there. This patch fits in this way here. Back. Clamp that one on there. Clamp on the bottom here. The same way. It's got to come down just a touch, just to fit in that gap there. There we go. So because the middle's flush here, actually this bit's got to go down a touch too. There you go. That's perfect fit. Bit of a gap. That's paint there. You can see. I'll get these two spot welds, these three spot welds, and I'll take the clamps off to the other two. Then I'll tack weld this all around. And once that's done, I'll I'll heat that bottom bit up and try and get that groove in there like I explained. So I'll pause it and I'll get my welding stuff ready and we'll get cracking on that. Right, get that. Right, so that's the panel welded in. Hard to see, there it is. You can see what I'm going to do now is I'm going to heat up this section here. The hot panel's still hot, I'm going to heat it up right there. I'm going to shove the center punch up there with a hammer and make a little lump there. It's just a drip groove, so if water goes down inside that body panel, that it can actually get out. So I'm just going to use the center punch, a hammer, and the hot enough. Yep. There you go, that's all it needs to be. Hole all the way through there. Now all I've got to do is just trim off the bottom of this panel down here, dress up all those welds, and that'll be it. that's the rust repair complete. You can see that it's a pretty bloody good rust panel. You can see that little groove up there where the water comes out. Next job is to get this sill positioned, cleaned up, and ready for paint. I might put a bit of rust preventive stuff on this first so it doesn't all rust up. Did it to this one back here. I think it's called Aqua Clean or something like that, so it doesn't rust. You can see it stayed pretty clear. I might do that and then I'll call it a night.